Paint just my knee, like one of your French knees.
Also, when we start, don't forget to start the Zencaster.
Amazing. Truly spectacular. Go! Go! And joining me this week is going to be Ernie Kim, back to record another episode of the podcast. Say hello to everyone, Ernie. Oh, wait, I forgot. Ernie doesn't fucking like us. He's not here. I lied. He's actually gotten quite a career going for himself as an ASMR streamer, I heard. With the soup slurping. Delicious.
Clanging randomly clangs different utensils.
Wasn't he also known for like crunching?
We're gonna have to start over, by the way.
Oh, your mic wasn't.
This mic. This mic.
It would be LOLA if we didn't start off wrong.
Yep.
Get me out of here.
Let me out. Let me out.
Let me out.
That was not a start.
Begging for help.
Okay, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to LOLA Podcast, episode 190. Another 10 episodes are done and in the books, and we're starting a new decade. No, 10 episode. I don't know. Starting a new 10, bitches. Here we go. So to fire this thing out with me, I brought two of my boys. One of which is Ponderous Sea Lion. Hey, what's up, Michael?
Let me give you guys some context. I wish you could see the face that I'm seeing, but unfortunately podcasting is an auditory medium. I had a really great joke about Ernie being on the podcast this week, and then Blake was like, oh, I'm on the wrong microphone again, just like I was last time.
I think great joke is generous. I've never been on the wrong microphone before, but I have failed to hit the record button before. This time I got that part right and made an entirely new mistake that compromised the intro.
I'm proud of you for failing in new ways every time. Wasn't that like a Henry Ford quote or something?
Yeah. I'm finding unique and innovative ways to fail. You see, Next week I'm going to propose an assembly line of failure.
Yeah, just to
it's all about streamlining.
Just to speed up the process of nothing getting done. Perfect. I can't wait for it.
And the third host this week, you may know him as the creepy guy from work. He is Alex Wormlax. What's up, Alex?
Hey guys, listen, just because I have a slight interest in whether or not it's legal to eat someone or not, like, that's not creepy. Come on.
So, as a filler for a little bit, we get for the banter section of the show. During community games, I was actually doing pretty good at staying on topic for once. And Alec decides to bring up, is it actually illegal to eat somebody if they're willing to let you eat them and they stay alive? So like they like cut off a finger or something, which then prompted me to stop watching and shoutcasting and start doing legal research to find out the answer to that question. Turns out the answer is there's
not a lot of legal
Turns out, there's not a lot out there on cannibalism and that being a law, but there was a very interesting Supreme Court case in England where there was a shipwreck and two guys ate their unconscious friend to stay alive because he drank salt water, right? Whoops. So, yeah, that was interesting. And then there was a German man in 2001 that killed and ate somebody with their consent. And they still got him for murder. So, but Alex's question of, well, what if it's just like a finger or something, was as new to the law as it was creepy to hear. So, so not sure is the long and the short of it. But no, we had a nice talk about whether Alex's HR department has any idea what he's talking about.
Oh, there is no HR department in my company. We're fine. I'm good.
We're fine. We don't have human resources. We're good though.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows what goes on.
Change it to the human rights department. I think that if somebody wants me to eat their finger and I'm willing to eat their finger, I should be allowed to. That's America, baby.
That's a libertarian viewpoint on fingers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, think about it. Let's be honest. Besides the fact that you've just been told it's wrong, if you aren't killing someone, what about cannibalism is ethically wrong?
You are eating a human being. That would be the ethically wrong portion of it.
But what about that?
Hey, listen. I'm very utilitarian when it comes to things like that. If I'm dead, my friends are shipwrecked.
Wait,
I got
hold
no
up.
food. Go ahead and eat me.
If you have a utilitarian approach, there's tons
dead
of
bodies.
other food available in the United States at this moment. Like,
No,
there's
I'm
no
just saying,
utilitarian
all
argument.
I'm saying, no.
We were talking about eating somebody at work,
I'm saying,
not like in the
like,
context of a
when
shipwreck.
it comes to dead bodies specifically, like if you've got a use for my dead body, then go for it. I'm not using it anymore. You know, I don't really care about.
That's good, because I actually had an idea for a dead body ponder a sea lion marionette theater.
That sounds awesome. If I wasn't gonna be the marionette who is already dead, I would totally come see that.
Yeah, no, we've already greenlit it now for the first season, so that'll be available within a week of your untimely death. I still have to show up and like claim the body from your family, but I figure with this recording,
so new legal question: can Ponderous Sea Lion's Dead Body Marionette Theater go through with my consent if I die of natural causes?
That's 100% corpse desecration.
Oh,
so
well,
yeah, we're not. I don't think that's gonna fly in any state. Maybe if we filmed it in like international waters or something.
Dude, that's awesome. Ponderous Sea Lion's Corpse-tacular International Waters Marathon of Marionette Theater.
On an oil rig.
Would you pay top dollar for that?
I don't think anybody would pay anything for that. I think people would pay top dollar to not watch that.
I think you're vastly overestimating the quality of human beings on this planet.
No, that's how you get Patreon donations. For $5 a month, we will not show you.
And for $10 a month, we will.
Yeah. See how many creepy $10 donations we get. It's like, Jesus, what's the matter with you? All right, here's your video, but God, talk to somebody.
There is a good subset of Reddit that's just like videos of people dying. There's definitely
a
market out there.
Why do you know that?
Oh, come on. There's a subreddit for everything. I could have told you that without even knowing it was true.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. Let's be rational, Blake.
I'm just saying, like, old boy Alec runs in some interesting circles is all I'm getting at.
I will not discuss my sources.
I mean, mostly like circles.
I think your source is the /r/snuff subreddit would be my assumption.
No, my source is a podcast that's actually pretty popular. That probably it's Painkiller already. There's probably some people out there listening that might actually know it. It's some old like Call of Duty YouTubers and FPS Russia. If you ever know who he was,
I remember FPS Doug.
That was
no relation. No relation. But yeah, they just talk about whatever. And this FPS Russia, who's really FPS Kyle, is his real name. He has some interesting tastes. Like he likes to watch pretty much anything you could think of on the internet. So it comes up with some interesting topics where they talk about beheading of people and people randomly getting people off the Russian streets and just like kidnapping them to torture them for fun. Yeah. There's some people out there who are doing some interesting stuff.
Good thing Russia hasn't stumbled upon that new thing called human rights yet. They're a little behind the curve.
I just want to make one point here. Did you just refer to casual kidnapping and torture as interesting stuff? Is that
discussing it? Yeah.
Aha. Okay, so we're looking for new hosts for the podcast. Because I remember day one, Wormlax came on. He sat in that dark basement, and I accused him of being a serial killing vampire. And now I didn't know how close to the heart I actually was.
Yeah, you just took the hammer and you nailed that right on the head, like right off the bat. And I just had to awkwardly laugh that off as I pushed the body farther away from the camera's view.
Like gradually just.
You're so funny, Blake.
Turn the webcam away. It's like, no, not that corner of the room. So, anything flies in Russia, and here we go, episode 190. So this week, boys, we are talking about Pyke and what, if any, his impact will be on League of Legends. And
his name rhymes with an anti-Jewish slur. That's the first thing I noticed when he came out.
Because I'm sure actually going to be a problem.
Oh, dude, it's going to be awesome. I mean, I'll probably... I'm not going to use it.
Do not get...
But I'm 100% sure that I'm going to see that at least one time. Pyke the something, and then it's going to be great. That was my first thought. I was like, you can't name champions that close to things that... Like, you know, it's like when Dignitas, Team Dignitas, they would always throw at Baron, so they became Dignitas. Like TOSF, you can't name yourself close to like stuff that is obviously going to be said.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of another thing I could say that's one letter off, but they're all just terrible, and I can't.
Exactly.
Like
Pyke is screwed. He's really screwed.
No, I'm really trying right now, but all the slurs are too terrible, and I'm like, no, this joke it just won't work because. If I get that close, everybody will be like, whoa. And, you know, it's just not worth it. But, yeah. So, Pyke.
You could spell it with a C instead of a K so that nobody would know the difference.
I don't think spelling really matters as much on a pronounced podcast.
You just say it out loud with a C instead of a K.
It's like,
no, don't do that.
It doesn't make it any better. It's the same thing. It's the same pronunciation. It doesn't even rhyme or anything. It's not even that far. Okay. Anyway, so Pyke, we have an AD or like a support assassin now in the bot lane, and that's supposed to be incredibly revolutionary. But I've got news. I've been doing that for like 5 seasons. Right?
Why are you not on the balance team?
I should be. That's the point. I'm like, you guys should just accept my play style instead of having to make a champion for it. Just, you know, enable other people to do that. But no, I'm really actually pretty excited about this. So let's talk about this champion, kind of what his kit can do. I know, Michael, you've got a lot of it pulled up, right?
I do.
So what's the passive that we're looking at for Mr. Pyke?
The passive is a Gift of the Drowned Ones. When Pyke is unseen by enemies, he rapidly regenerates some of his health recently lost to enemy champions. Pyke also converts his bonus health into bonus attack damage instead, which is whack.
It's supposed to be at like a 14 or 40 to 1 ratio. I can't remember what the health AD is on that. But,
I honestly don't remember.
Well, see, this actually goes to a huge problem with like murderous supports that have to build ADs. There are no good AD support items. Intentionally, there are not any. Because typically AD is too expensive for any support to realistically build. So they tackled that problem by giving him a defensive to offensive scaling, which has also traditionally been a balancing problem for Riot.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so in this case, it works like his entire health that he builds is converted to AD, right? Like, he doesn't get the health, and then it's also an AD scaling, right? Like, it's just any health that he builds is converted to AD. So, like, if he buys Warmogs, he gets no health from it. He just gets a bunch of AD, right?
Oh, so that's the way it is.
I think that's the way it works.
Okay, so it's like Jhin, where you don't get any attack speed, but you instead get bonus AD.
Correct.
So they're saying, okay, you can build him tanky. It will turn into damage. He'll still be an assassin. He'll still
right.
be
So
squishy.
stuff like Redemption will give you AD instead of health, but you can still have the support active, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that to me, that's actually more balanceable than like shit like that scales like your damage will also scale with health. So like you build health and then it makes your attack deal more damage. This is actually a little bit more balanceable than that, I think, because it just is not a 1-to-1 ratio, but like it's a flat ratio of like you build this much health, you get this much AD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's a little bit more reasonable.
So the one thing I will find really interesting about that is there are like generally the health items are much cheaper than AD items to build, right? And if we math out the scaling, like you get something like what, 800 hit points off Warmogs?
Yeah, 850. I don't know.
And what did you say that it was? How much to win?
I don't know what it doesn't have the ratio because Riot Games hates numbers.
Well, no, I saw that
they
ratio.
Don't want us to have like access to them. I don't know what the ratio is. It doesn't have it on his shit.
I've seen it. I thought it was like 14-to-1 or something.
Like 14 health converts into 180.
Yeah, it's like 14 to like that. But by the way, Daniel Z. Klein is a designer.
Bonus health to 80 scaling is 14 bonus HP to 180.
Okay.
So at 14 to 1, I'm gonna like you guys talk for a second. I'm gonna do some quick math.
So, you eat anyone lately, Alec?
No one has consented.
Just trying to make small talk.
Do you want to be the? Do you want to be
the child's toe that you ate last week in your soup? You just stuck it in there.
No,
the little beef tenderloin. You know.
Let's just make it very clear. As much as I'm always up for discussing that topic because it's interesting to me, the legal aspect of it, I am not actually even under consent of someone looking to eat any human flesh.
I find it interesting in the abstract. I don't actually have any desire to consume human flesh. It's very obvious to you, as I'm a very intelligent, well-learned man. But I'm a legal scholar. It's interesting to me.
I feel like you should have like a tall
it.
Abraham Lincoln style pipe hat and like a smoking jacket and a pipe in his hand, like. Yes, I find the topic of eating people to be profoundly interesting. That's an intellectual experience, mind you, but
do your best voice now, Alec. You got a tough act to follow with the two of us, though.
I don't think I want to do this. I think I want to be excluded because I'm very bad at voices. Will not come out well.
He's a coward. You heard it here first. Wormlax is the cowardly member of the LOLA podcast. He probably mains Janna. If I had to
whoa. Listen, you can call me a coward all you want, but the second you say
probably devour all ADC. That's probably
okay.
You could call the man a coward, but I've seen him hunt a boar.
What are you doing? Anyways, you were doing
so
math?
I did some math. If you buy Warmogs, you get 57 AD, and that's 57 AD. For 28.50 is the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cost inefficient at that scaling to buy health.
I think where it becomes more effective or efficient is on items like Titanic Hydra that offer both or Black Cleaver. Like Black Cleaver, I think is going to be really good on this champion potentially.
Yeah,
we'll have to see, but
yeah,
I don't know if he'll end up just building support and then like getting the AD off of it, like if he's still gonna buy items like Redemption because the active is so good, and just take the health that it gives. I don't know.
Because I mean, if you buy a Giant's belt, that's 1,000. You're getting 27 AD for that.
And how much does BF give?
BF gives. Oh, they changed it. 1 second. I'll just look it up.
I should know this, but I don't.
Well, it was 40. It used to be 50.
It gives 40 now?
Yeah, it gives 40 now, and that's 1,300 for 40. So it's less efficient than just buying AD.
Right.
But it's not that much less efficient.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that because it's not that much less efficient, we're gonna have to see how people decide to build around it. Because, like, Redemption, even if the health aspect is quote unquote inefficient, you could still, like, get more of a benefit because of the passive or the active on the item. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, Warmogs would probably scale super well with, or would probably synergize super well with his passive, where he gets health when he's unseen by enemies, because you just dip out of the fight and you get the double regen passive of Warmogs and
you're probably
and Pyke, but
you're probably doing one of those things when you do that where you're like
double dipping
you're
too
double
much.
dipping,
And
you may not be able to get to the 3,000 health threshold.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about the 3,000 health threshold. I forgot they changed that. I don't buy that item that much because I.
But I mean, stuff like Remnant of the Aspect gives you 350 health.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's like 25-ish AD. Yeah, because it's a little less than Giant's Belt. Well, so I mean, that's not bad on your support item to get 25 AD.
It's definitely interesting. I just feel like his kit will all be around. Like, is he strong enough that like people will just take him somewhere else? Like, they won't be a support.
I think he's gonna be a jungler.
Oh, he'll be a jungler for sure. I don't think he ever will be a support. Like,
I don't think so.
I think he'll perform well in support. Can you think of everywhere else better?
Can you think of other champions that were intended to be supports that ended up being played elsewhere and are no longer played as supports? Maybe
Lulu for the longest time until they nerfed the shit out of her.
Yeah, they really had to change her.
Mm-hmm. Zillion is a mid more than he's a support now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Alistar was for a while until they nerfed his ratios.
Oh god, Alistar with Sheen was cancer.
Yeah.
Nunu, it's kinda. He used to be played as a support, and of course he's only a jungler now. But that was like season 2. That was a long time ago. Tom Kench, maybe. What was Tom Kench even intended as? Because he plays everything.
I think support.
He was intended to be a support, yes.
Yeah, and he can be played top and jungle as well.
Right.
In addition,
well, it was funny. Whenever I saw Pyke's kit come out, and we'll get through the kit in just a second. But whenever I saw the kit come out, I said to myself. Actually, I made a post on Twitter about it, and I said, this is going to be a really good support. The problem is he's never going to play there. He'll only be in jungle if he can do a first clear. And then
it looks like he can.
Yeah, we watched, who was it, Pants or Dragon?
Pants.
Yeah. So we watched a video of Pants on the PBE, and he pretty much easily cleared, Raptors even?
Yeah, he could even clear Raptors on his first take.
So
because he's got multiple AoE clear tools, which we'll go through in a sec.
So yeah, that's not a problem for him to make those early clears. And then if he can do that, his ganks are fucking terrifying because you've basically got a like Twitch style gank where you just creep in behind somebody and kill them in Viz.
Yep.
And
with actual CC.
Yeah, with actual CC and a stun. And a Blitzcrank style pullback and damage.
And an execute at level 6.
So yeah, that's like super terrifying gank potential. And like very little counterplay to it because of the invisibility. So yeah, no, he'll be a terrifying jungler.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Cause like I would main the shit out of this guy's support. Cause that looks so fun.
I'm worried because, like, he looks like just another one of those champions that they were like, oh, we want to add, like, all these cool things to him. And now he's got this, like, kit that's so, like, abundant with really useful abilities. It's going to be, like, really hard to balance. Like, if he's good with all those abilities and the way they work together, like, he's always going to be, like, at the top tier. Yeah. If he's, like, low, like they have to bring back his numbers to make him balance, like people aren't going to play him. Like he's not going to have like an in-between like place.
Let's go over his abilities real quick.
Well, okay, so before you say that, I do want to say I think of all the recent releases that Riot has had, this is the most balanceable of the last like 3 or 4 in terms of
What about
kit.
Zoe though, Blake?
Yeah, not balanceable. You know, like that chick is, I know you're being sarcastic, but still, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. She's either hot garbage and does nothing, or she is, I will explode you by looking at you, OP.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no middle ground to her because her kit design is so one-dimensional that she has to do the thing that she does one-dimensionally effectively, or it doesn't work. Right? Like none of it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Pyke, you can dick with his damage, or you could pull around with his numbers, and he still has the fundamentals of a fun kit. It's basically like a mix of Thresh and Shin as a support with damage. Right? And I think that's super cool. But keep in mind, the difference is like when you play Thresh and you play Shin, those guys are tanky as fuck. Like they get tanky. That's how you build them.
The thing
this
that's
guy
weird
never
about
will.
The thing that's weird about Pyke is like he honestly plays more like a Dota style support because lots of support-esque champions in Dota don't, and I'm not an expert on the game, so I might not be 100% on the mark with what I'm saying, but I played enough of it to kind of get it, and I played that one guy who, like, he's constantly stealth, like the champion's constantly in stealth. It's such a weird game, but he doesn't really have many, like, supportive qualities. Like, he doesn't shield you, he doesn't heal you, he has CC, but, like, it's very rare for a support style champion like this. He has, like, no utility to offer to his teammates besides CC and damage. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, like, League's never really had a support like that. If you think about it, like, most of them have some form of defensive capabilities for their team. Like, I'm looking at the list, unless you're talking about like a mage support, which is completely different because this champion functions totally differently than a mage support. But like, right. I mean, Thresh even has his lantern. Like, Thresh is as close as it comes, but even he's got his lantern. I guess Leona doesn't really have much, but she's got so much of a stun lock that it doesn't really count. But like, it's so weird to see like a champion like this enter League at this stage of the game. Like at this stage of the game's existence, it's weird to see them deviate so much from the norm.
I'm just gonna real quickly, let's just throw the kid out, get it out of the way. So we've talked about that, and then we can talk about all the other shit that I think goes with it. Because we're keep getting ahead of ourselves, and it's like, all right, let's just lay it all out, right? Okay, so like we said, the passive, he will rapidly regenerate. Like Tom Kinch style gray health.
Oh, do you want me to read it? I have it pulled up if you don't.
No, I've got it now.
Okay,
He's got Tom Kinch style gray health set up, but he has to leave enemy vision for that to proc. Not like Tom Kinch, who hits a button and he gets a shield, right? His Q is called Bone Skewer. He takes a knife and he stabs you. And if he stabs you, you get a 99% slow for like a second or something. If he throws his Q by charging it, you get like a little baby Blitzcrank pull. Like something akin to like when Swain grabs you, it looks about like that.
Yeah.
Right? His W is called Ghost Water Dive. And when he does that, he goes invisible or with camouflage. He gains a movement speed buff that decays over a few seconds. And this also procs his passive because he's going unseen, so it starts his regeneration. Right? If you attack or cast a spell, you're immediately visible. So that's the catch. Is it's like camouflage, but if you cast, they can see you. His E is called Phantom Undertow. He dashes and he leaves behind a drowned phantom. After a delay, the phantom returns to Pyke, damaging and stunning enemies it passes through. So think of it like a Shin taunt, but the taunt comes a little bit later.
Yeah. Way.
Like a Aurelia stun, but with his body instead of two knives.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
The last is his ult, and it is probably the most interesting part of his kit. The ult, he strikes in an X-shaped area. He blinks to champions and executes those below a certain flat health. Enemies in that X that are not executed take damage equal to the amount that he did when he executed somebody, right? If a champion dies in the X, the last ally to assist also gains full kill gold, and Pyke can instantly use Death from Below again for a short period of time. So,
which is what makes him a support.
So basically, he
just
gets
as
like,
good on a jungler.
Yeah, he gets like a Katarina style ult reset, and can blink to somebody else and kill them too. And if he hit you, if you were close enough to get hit to start, then you're gonna get hit twice by his ultimate, which means you're probably gonna die in that scenario. If you're close enough to someone who gets killed by him, you're probably going to die.
Yeah. I believe you can blink out of it, which is gonna be.
Yeah, supposedly it can be flashed.
Yeah.
Is the word on the street.
So, kind of like Rek'Sai ult, a little bit like that. Like, you have to have good timing, but you can flash it. So.
Okay, so now let's talk about what, I've already said he's like Shin and Thresh kind of mixed together, or Baby Blitzcrank or whatever, right? That's what he feels like to me in support. However, I don't think this is a jungle kid. So you talked about his AoE.
The fact that they're passing him off as a support is super weird. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's happened before though. Vi was originally intended to be a top laner.
But that's, I guess you're right. But that was like, I don't know. It's season 3, right? Like, they should understand the game better now. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's.
But they also thought Tahm Kench would be a support. And
well, Tahm Kench
played everywhere.
But Tahm Kench can be played effectively. Like, I'm not saying Pyke is ineffective as a support. I think Tahm Kench's best role is still support, though, because of the utility that he provides. I still think he's best as a support compared to a jungler or a top laner.
All right, well,
this champion seems
vastly
better as a jungler.
Vel'Koz was designed as a mid. Morgana was designed as a mid. Yeah. There are tons of champions that they thought would go one place and then went everywhere else, but where they thought it was going to go.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. My only point is that, like, this kit has all the makings of a jungler. Like, it shouldn't be like those other ones, like Vel'Koz and Morgana, more so Vel'Koz, but Morgana as well. Both of them have, like, very mid laner-esque play styles. Vel'Koz especially. Morgana not as much, but like Pyke just like I can't imagine it's so weird to me that they're not just saying this is a new jungle champion. Like he just literally looks and feels and plays like a jungle champion. Mm-hmm. So and then they're just like, oh, this is a support. Like if you ask me to guess, like where do you think this champion's gonna go? I'd say, oh, it's a jungler, obviously. And then it's like it's not.
Well, like
so bizarre to me.
Like it feels like he's a mix of like Kayn and what the fuck is burrowing sumbitch? Rek'Sai. Thank you. It's like a mix of Kayn and Rek'Sai, right? Like or Jungle Twitch. Feels a lot like Jungle Twitch.
It seems like the play style will be very akin to if you're in jungle is like Evelyn. Like, you're not going to be super tanky, but you're going to have, or you might even be decently tanky, but you're more of a mixed, like, jump in, kill the squishy target, and then
like
try to get out.
Kind of,
yeah. Like, it seems like that's a very similar playstyle. Like, with the way his kit works, you can probably go in, start off with, like, your invis in, try to stun them before they realize, like, kind of what's happening. If they escape after that, pull them back, and then execute with your ult. Like, and that to me feels like Evelyn sneaking in, charm them, do your damage, execute with your ult.
I think that's actually the best comparison. I think is Evelyn, AD Evelyn.
Or like, what about Echo? Feels like it could be an Echo style.
But Echo kind of, but Echo has a get out button, and Pyke does not have a get out button really, because his W's not great for it, and it's also probably going to be your main initiate because the champion's not.
But doesn't his
ult dash? But
I mean, doesn't his ult make you untargetable? So you could use that to tower dive.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking like a team fight context. Like, yeah, it's probably good for tower diving. That's not what I'm.
And then you've also got that
like,
water walking speed boost to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think Echo's a bad comparison. I think Evelyn's just closer to the mark because, like, literally her W functions the same as his Q. It's a CC that can decently easily be dodged. Has a stealth. The only thing, the E's are not similar at all, and then the ult is an execute. Like, they're very similar. I
mean, I'll let you know because I intend to main this guy in everywhere I can take him. I mean, realistically though, I don't know if he's going to be a very good like solo laner.
I don't think
Do you guys think he has the chops for solo lane?
We'll have to see how overtuned he is. But
honestly, it depends on how good it's all about the Q for laning, right? Because the Q is the easiest thing to do trades with. So
I don't think so, though.
The stealth doesn't really help you in lane a lot of the time, so that's kind of a hindrance to him. But if the Q is strong enough and like the sustain, I guess I don't know.
The thing that's interesting is that like he does have a dash, but he's still not super mobile, and his dash is also his main like all-in tool. So if you try to all-in, without your E, because you're saving it if you get ganked or whatever, you're gonna not do enough to kill anyone, from what I can tell. Because his W doesn't do damage, and his E is his main like super good CC tool. Like his Q is, I think, gonna be somewhat unreliable to land. You've got the R for the execute, but I think he's gonna. I don't know. I just don't think he's gonna be a good solo laner. But,
yeah, I mean, I would say it kind of depends on his scaling because, like, you do have a sustain tool. I don't know what the scaling is going to be. Traditionally, champions that are intended to play support have dog shit scalings, but he's also intended to play an assassin support. So I don't know what that's going to mean in terms of his scalings, right?
The other problem is Q. It has a 16-second cooldown.
Oh yeah, he can.
One.
At level 1?
At level 1, it has a 16-second.
What does it get down to though?
It gets down to 8 seconds.
Okay, that's not that bad. I mean, Thresh's is higher than that.
Right, but to start at 16 seconds for trying to solo lane, like that would be your main way to deal with other champions and like trade back besides just auto attacks, and 16 seconds is way too long.
What's the cooldown on his stun?
Cooldown on his stun, 15 seconds, doesn't scale with level. So
okay. So
he's got
you
very
have
long
to put
cooldowns.
Points, you pretty much have to put points into Q. Your cooldowns are probably too long for a solo lane, but that's not going to be an issue for jungle.
No.
You know, so you're still going to be pretty badass jungler, and I don't know how they're going to adjust or deal with that, particularly if they actually want him to see time in support. Right. I do think it's actually pretty awesome that they came up with the concept of a support assassin. I think that like I have had the weirdest boner for like a week now. So I'm like,
you should. I believe that the industry standard is 4 hours, Blake.
Well, I went and saw a doctor, and they're like,
you're getting up there in age, but I didn't think you were that old.
Yeah, I went and saw a doctor about it, and she's like, "Oh, Pyke release? Oh, go ahead."
That's normal. That's
normal.
No,
me too, and I'm a chick.
This is all.
Yeah, they were like, "Wait, you saw Pyke too?" I've been having the same issue. I'm stuck with this raging boner. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and my doctor, she's a lady, and she even understands.
Sometimes it be like
this
that.
Seems reasonable.
Throbs for days, boys. So, but I mean, no, for real though, like, I am super excited about the concept. It seems like everything I like out of Thresh, right? And it's got a whole bunch of outplay potential and mobility, which is super fun. And so I don't know.
I like it, but I'd prefer another shield support, I think.
I want to support that literally every single ability is just shielding.
Well, yeah,
all they do is
awesome,
just walk around and shield.
And then nobody on your team ever dies, and they can buy Ardent Sensor, and then it's like they're just might as well be building offensively.
Well, I mean,
that would be fucking sick, dude.
But I mean, realistically though, I think that many shields with the OP should probably have a heal thrown in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But
and then
no, okay, so
hey guys, look, I'm doing a Janna player cam.
So I will throw this out there. Let's talk about the jungle changes, because that's a nice segue from Pyke, who I think is going to be a very interactive support player. Like, you're going to get up in asses with Pyke, and I think that's great for the bottom lane. Like, I think that's a good addition to the meta, because I hate it when stuff like Janna and Soraka are like the primary picks in bot. I'm not saying they are right now. I'm just saying I hate it when they are. Though I did see Soraka at MSI and I kind of wanted to die a little bit.
Why?
Huh? Okay, so you're just asking me to go on a rant I've gone on 100 times, and I'm this close to taking the bait about why I think that champion is the most dog shit, stupid addition to League of Legends. And I'm not even talking about Janna. Janna is fine. Soraka is fucking cancer. Right? Because, like...
Hey, Blake, there's this item called Executioner's Calling. Maybe you've heard of it, and it completely counters Soraka. Useless champion. Why do you think that my Soraka died 13 times in solo queue?
Checkmate, atheist.
Impossibly difficult. And apparently the guy's 1.5 million points on Nasus wasn't enough to help him play Soraka effectively. Unfortunately. I thought that his 350k on Soraka would help, but no.
I don't know how you managed to just assume my rant and take it in a different direction, but you did great with it.
Thank you.
Good job.
It's like trusting me with one of your children, practically. The Soraka rant.
But no, it's fuck like Soraka.
Child 1, Child 2, Soraka rant in terms of closeness to Blake's heart.
Hey, we want to make a game that's a fun mobile battle arena, and hey, let's make it online. Right? So we have a whole lot of people in our online mobile battle arena that are going to fight each other. And
we're a small indie company, so the client is never going to work.
It's a goddamn battle arena. Let's like really just focus in on those two words. So what do we need to put in our fucking battle arena is a white mage. Wait, what? John? What? I just like playing white mages, guys. I already threw it in there. It's released. Well, John, you probably should have asked us before you put a white mage in a fucking battle arena. That doesn't make sense. Nah, man, people like white shit. All right, can we just, you guys want to design something else? We'll just ignore what. No, I think people are really going to like it. I made it a unicorn. It's cool. People like unicorns and shit, right? Magical healing unicorns and shit. What? Oh, look, now she has hooves. Oh, good job, John. Somebody get that guy a fucking sandwich and get him off the balance team. He doesn't need to be making champions. So, yeah, they make a fucking white mage that only has anti-fun abilities. Like, oh, did you catch somebody with an awesome outplay maneuver? Did you time an executed minion and get a sweet hook grab in there? No, that's not going to work because she has a fucking silence field and a slow, and she can heal every 1.5 fucking seconds? Why is that necessary? And even if that didn't do it, we have an ultimate that heals everybody on the team. Why not? Double heals. If one heal wasn't good enough, let's give 2 heals so it's even better.
I have regrets in my life.
Like, 2 heals and a goddamn silence. At least Janna only has 1 shield. You know?
That's the most retarded disengage in the entire game.
Sure, she is disengaged, but she's got to be good. Somebody's got to be good at disengage. That's fine. I mean,
I think that disengage is fine, but I think that brainless disengage, which is what Janna is rife with, is actually cancerous. But we were talking about something on topic. Then
I don't know. You
Why
ruined
4
me.
times?
I don't care. Like, here's the thing.
Why?
Delete a fucking white mage from a battle arena. That is the stupidest goddamn idea that anybody came up with. It doesn't make sense in the context of what you're trying to do. It's some anti-fun horse shit. And those champions honestly need to be reworked into being something that's not AIDS.
Something that requires skill?
Well, no, they did rework Soraka. They did. And I was like, oh, finally, they reworked Soraka. Thank God. Maybe she'll, like, heal or something, but she'll have other fun things. Nope. Just more anti-fun buttons. We kept her core identity, which is being a goddamn white mage, and then we added more frustration to it. You know, it's like Lucky Charms with frustration marshmallows. So you eat the cereal, and that sucks, but here's also some shit marshmallows. Because you were looking forward to the fucking marshmallows, and instead, you got silenced. And you can't even complain.
Part, personally.
You are the only person on the planet that likes the cereal better than the marshmallows and Lucky Charms.
I like the cereal, dude.
Wormlax hasn't eaten marshmallows in years because they're not made out of people. Fucking,
we can do I know it's not Wormlax is a cannibal. This was not my intent with the topic of cannibalism.
Have you tried animal crackers, Wormlax? Maybe they should make those in the shape of people for you.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not perpetuate the stereotype that I like human flesh.
You can get some of those Teddy Grahams and just chew off the ears, and then they look like people. They're people grams.
Gingerbread men. There's food shaped like
gingerbread men. That's right. Yeah, those are people. Gingerbread people. You know, like, here's the thing, and this is what I brought up whenever we were doing the community games, is what if you, like, grew, like, a human ear on a rat's back like they did? You know, if you ate that, would that taste like people or rat? Because, I mean, it's transplantable, though. And it's a person's ear, DNA-wise.
I feel like it would be more rat than person, like taste-wise. Like, well, I feel like you couldn't claim to have tasted human if you ate a mutated ear off the back of a rat.
Well, I mean, I give you that it's like the master splinter of ears, but like, I still think that it would probably qualify, like, on a genetic level, right? I mean, you may get some musky rat flavor in there, but...
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, when we talk about... If I'm going to take the risk to actually eat human, it better be actually good grade A.
You're grade A. USDA certified human?
Like, I'm not eating human to try some janky ass genetic formation off of a rat's back. Like, I want some athlete to commission, like, I'll pay some athlete like an ungodly amount of money, you know, to cut a finger off or something and get like that.
This is why people say that capitalism doesn't work, Wormlax. This is why communism exists. Because of people like you. Like, this is why there are communists in the world. Capitalism does not... Obviously, it doesn't work. It does not evenly distribute the wealth in a way that makes any sense.
Yeah, obviously, I haven't gotten to try
in Russia. Everybody get 10 fingers. Okay, so anyway, like, you can't transition off that. There's no good way to do it. It just has to be pretty blunt transition. So anyway, we've talked about Pyke. Verdict was in. He's probably going to be pretty gross, I think. Either he's going to be gross or he's going to be ass. That's how every champion comes out. But with his kit, I can't imagine that he's not going to be scarily good. And he will be a jungler. I don't think he's going to be a support. But I will try to steal him from my jungler and play him support and be like, see, Riot said so. And then what was the other thing we were going to talk about?
You wanted to talk about Skadel crabs.
Oh, right. So this patch, every jungler in the world has been bitching that their jungle has become a non-interactive fuckfest of Ivern versus Nunu or whatever.
River Shen.
And it's been like, oh no, I have to play a non-interactive jungle. This is terrible. And then it spawned
just that.
Well, no, it's funny because it spawned like a Twitter flaming battle between like high elo supports and high elo junglers. It's like the junglers are like, this is bullshit. I have to put up with so many changes. Jungle is the most changed role. And then like all the supports are like, and it's like, yeah, right. Like we haven't had to go through like 10 meta shifts a season because we do. Because our meta is tied to what's strong in the AD camp. Like, oh, do we pick somebody who fully supports a Kog'Maw? Or are we going like all in hard? Or is it sustain? Or is it mage poke supports? Like,
yeah, we have to change my support item again.
Oh, yeah. And now I can't buy a Sightstone, thanks, Riot. You know, like all this shit, you know, they're like, that just caused a big pissing match. But what I think we should all do, instead of, you know, yelling at each other, is we should totally kumbaya over the fact that non-interactive gameplay fucking sucks, regardless.
That's what I was talking about on Twitter.
All right, so the floor is yours, friend. Step on your soapbox.
Step on my soapbox. Okay, let me go on my Twitter then and pull it up, because it's a really good tweet, obviously.
I mean, who would expect anything less from the great Ponderosa Sea Lion? If he were to construct a tweet, you know he is going to only bring in the finest craftsmanship of words,
a USDA
vernacular.
Certified tweet.
Yeah, so basically some support player tweeted, LMFAO jungles have to play non-interactive champs, Nunu/Ivern, for one patch and throw a front page hissy fit. Meanwhile, supporters had to deal with Janna Lulu meta for 14 years straight. And so I just responded to that with, imagine if the goal is to make League an interactive game for people in every role instead of just fighting each other like animals, real villains, or Riot Games who perpetuate garbage play patterns constantly. And basically my whole point with that is that we already did the Soraka rant, but like Soraka really encapsulates everything that sucks about playing League of Legends, because the problem with so many games is that, and I've seen this across, like, not as bad in Smash Bros. Melee anymore, but like even like I've like barely gotten into Fortnite like a little bit, and like even watching top Fortnite players, like the optimal play to win is to play defensive in that game. The optimal play in Melee for a long time, once you get to a high level, is to play defensively a lot. And like so many games just don't reward aggression well enough anymore. Like once they get once League has been as optimized as it is, like what was that goddamn game where the Koreans got first blood at 39 minutes? Like, that is dog shit. That is awful. Like, 39-minute first blood? Seriously?
That
like,
was League of Legends.
Yeah. Like, why would I want to play a game, or much less watch a game? Like, I can't imagine, like, LS, you know, I agree with a lot of what LS says, but he's like, the reason people don't like watching low-kill games is because they just can't grasp the subtleties and the nuances, the macro play. That's not actually what LS sounds like. Just a picture me, but somehow even more high pitched. And
yeah,
got LS.
Picture
even more
LS
pretentious somehow.
LS probably sounds like those old boar hunting gentlemen that Wormlax hangs out with.
He doesn't sound like that.
Get really grasp the vital points of League of Legends. We did a low kill games that go around.
You sound like Mr. Bottomtooth from Family Guy.
No, Mr. Bottomtooth is.
That's what he sounds like.
No, I sound like the guy who's like, Stewie was like, you can't talk about the Pacific Rim economies, blah, 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 blah. And it's the guy with the big fat mustache. That's the guy I sound like.
Anyways, but LS is always like, our tiny Western brains can't comprehend the nuance of the Korean macro play. And it's like, no, I just don't want to fucking watch a game where nobody dies for 40 minutes. Like, that's not engaging. And it's not engaging to play either. Really. I mean, I know that's not going to happen in solo queue.
It's
but
not that our brains cannot grasp it. It's that our ADD American brains desire entertainment from our entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
you know what I mean? Like,
you shouldn't have to have be an analyst for a competitive team and like understand every nuanced move that a player does to enjoy a pro game of League of Legends. Like, it's the same thing as like watching any other sport. It's like you don't have to be an expert to enjoy it.
I've got it. I grew up playing soccer. I played soccer in high school. I played soccer intramurally in college, not like garbage intramurals, but like club intramurals, right? played a ton of soccer. I enjoy the mechanics of soccer. I enjoy the strategy of soccer. I understand, 3-4-3 and all the advantages of that and every other kind of formation or structure. And I want to kill myself whenever I watch Italy play full defensive soccer in the World Cup. It's boring as fuck, right? It's like playing checkers and
That's
never
why people
moving
hate
your
Mayweather's
back row.
boxing, too.
Yeah, like I said, you never move your back rows. You never lose at checkers. It's the same fucking thing. And it's god-awful to witness. I mean, it's really, really, really boring to watch. And I understand that it's a strategy. It's just a strategy that results in very disengaging gameplay, right? Mm-hmm. And while it is a certain way to win, it's the most god-awful experience for everybody who's not winning. It's bad for the opponent, it's bad for the spectators, and in that degree, it's bad for the sport, because I will guarantee you this, if I have to choose between a 0-0 tie soccer game or watching a 7-7 tie soccer game, I'll take the 7-7 game any day, even though it's a shit show, and even though I go, well, that is not soccer played at its finest, right? Because it's a fucking bloodbath out there, but like, the best games are 3-2. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I am not a person who believes that the best games are like 0-0. Right? Keep in mind, there are some good like 1-0 games whenever there's a whole bunch of near misses and shit like that, because that's exciting and the game is close and it's tight and it could swing at any time. Right? Mm-hmm. I feel as though League enables too much like the 0-0 gameplay in general, right? And I think that Pyke is a nice welcome departure from that. Mm-hmm. But you can see how easily the scales shift when you have a change like making Scuttle Crab worth so much goddamn experience.
Let's talk about Pyke versus another very recent champion release, Zoe, and why Pyke is such a better champion to have released than Zoe, because Zoe is a champion that is fully about non-committal gameplay and poking from afar. Her E, there's no danger to using any of her abilities, really. I mean, the only time you die on that champion is when you're caught out of position, which is your fault. Like, you never really get caught out that much if you're playing her properly, just because of how god-awfully long her range is. And it's the same thing with like Lux is another mid laner that plays that way, but at least Lux is a little bit less defensively oriented to where you can actually maybe catch her out. But like these champions that just play back from 1,000 units and never have to get close to you, that's bad gameplay. Like Xerath is like a champion that I think actually does it more or less correctly, because he is very stationary when he uses his abilities. Like, his W and his E require him to stand still for a second. His R physically roots him in place. His Q slows him down a whole bunch. And he has to play a specific way around those disadvantages. But Zoe, it's just like, I'm going to throw my E, and then if it lands, that's good. I can kill whoever it lands on. And if it doesn't land, then I'll just wait 12 seconds and use it again with no real, time for punishment. Because, with Blitzcrank, another champion who operates on, a pick-based cooldown playstyle, if you miss your Q, you're actually vulnerable to things happening to you. You can get poked, you can get... People can play forward on you. It's an actual window of vulnerability. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Whereas, Zoe doesn't have that.
And so, to back compare to Pyke, in the same fashion... For Pyke to be effective at anything, he has to use himself, his own body, to get the stun. If you miss that stun, you are in it. You are in the shit, right? Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a very difficult scenario for you to play out, right? Granted, if you combo his shit together properly, then you should get off a pretty free stun. But at the same time, once you commit, you're pretty much all in. He's not going to be a champion that's going to poke a whole lot. You're either doing nothing or you're in, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really
refreshing,
compelling, even compelling gameplay, because it creates power moves, right? And it makes you make a hard gut decision. It makes you play with some nuts. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have cantaloupe testicles to play a champion like that. Where, like, I could play Zoe or Ziggs. Don't shake your head at cantaloupe testicles. That was a really good metaphor. Anyway.
I thought you said antelope testicles.
No!
That's why I was very, confused.
Well, what I want you to be is a grass eater that jumps really high as you run.
You
and
see the stem of the confusion, then.
Yeah, no, it's antelope testicles. Not like watermelon size, but definitely it'll fill up the palm of your hand. Give them a little thump to make sure they're right. Yeah.
What a mental image.
So, I think the other thing about all of this that we're talking about is a problem I have with League at a lot of the times is it's more rewarding to play a low skill champion than it is to play a high skill champion. There's not enough of a difference in if you play a high skill champion and hit all of your abilities,
or even if you play a low skill champion in a highly skilled manner. Like if you play a low skill champion very well.
It just feels like there's not enough. It's more rewarding to just it's more of a safe play and conducive to you winning easier to play the safer pick. And
Ornn in the top lane is absolutely cancer to play against because his main trading tool is also a shield. Mm-hmm. There's no window, and it's not on that long of a cooldown. There's no window for you to trade there.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I mean, and excluding top lane or whatever, because it was really about the scuttle. That's the big monster thing that made all these changes shift to passivity. And I think the reason that you have here is when you create a neutral objective that is so valuable that you pretty much have to have it, and if you get it, you're way up on your opponent. Right? Mm-hmm. Then what you're prioritizing is the ability to remove a camp off the map over what you wanted to prioritize, which is fights, engagements, and map control. Right? So what they wanted the Scuttle Crab to be was a little baby dragon for each jungler to fight over, right? But the higher the elo you get, the less you're going to have a 1-on-1 fight at Scuttle, and the more you're going to have a 3-on-3 or 5-on-5 fight at Scuttle.
Or a 1-on-3 fight at Scuttle.
Or a 1-on-3 fight at Scuttle.
Where I now have to rely on my lanes to get EXP.
Right. So then what do you do if you're that 1-on-3 guy? Well, you're going to be the guy that picks Nunu so you can consume Smite and run the fuck away and not have to rely on your team. Or you're going to pick Ivern so you can put a little candy coating around it and then smite him and run off so you don't have to rely on your team. Right? It becomes the most efficient tactic available to clear an objective off the map before anybody can mobilize to it. Right? So instead of creating the fight moments you want, you prioritize escaping those moments.
Well, the other thing that makes no sense about it is, if you do play a champion that has weaker early dueling, there are just champions that are strictly worse at level 2 or level 3 dueling than others. And Riot's basically saying if you don't pick one of these champions that has really good level 2 or level 1, you're just going to get shafted by someone that does actually pick one of those champions. You know? It's it's just such a weird, I don't know. I haven't played enough on the new patch for me to feel like I'm qualified enough to talk about it and the greater impact it's gonna have on the game.
Well, okay, and I'm not, to be honest, I'm not either. I just read it. I saw the Scuttle drama. I read what the Scuttle changes are. That it's basically way more EXP, more gold, more hit points, harder to clear off the map. So it's like a little mini boss in the river that doesn't fight back, right? And so that's fine. But, the point in general is that I hate whenever things are done in a way it wasn't broken, right? Like Scuttle wasn't
But Blake,
bad.
the laners had to ward it 2 minutes 30 seconds. How can anybody remember to do that every game? Like, are you kidding me? Warding at the exact same timer every game? That's impossible. Like,
but I mean,
be
like,
rational
okay,
here.
so to be real though, like before, Scuttle was its own thing. It was worth money, not worth a lot of EXP at all.
I think the problem with Scuttle before was that, like, A, it wasn't worth any EXP, so it was pretty worthless to take most of the time, and B, some junglers were, like, so much better at clearing it than other junglers. Like, those were the problems with Scuttle before, because for some reasons, hard CCing it makes it a lot easier to kill. And, like, so if you're playing a champion that has a CC that can be used on camps, or is a good clearer, then you're going to have an advantage not only in clearing your normal camps, but also in clearing Scuttle crabs, which gives your team vision. Like, I think that buffing Scuttle and even making Scuttle, like, possible to incorporate in your early clears is fine. I actually don't have a huge problem with that. But my problem more comes from, like, Riot, like, making it super, like, the only lucrative strategy to take Scuttle crab, you know?
Yeah. Well, see, like, I think instead of doing what they did with Scuttle, all they could do is just make it like a normal camp, right? Like, it could be like Gromp's passive little brother that is about as hard to take as Gromp and gives you the advantage of vision and is normal EXP, normal gold. And it would still be a contested thing that junglers would potentially fight over, but it doesn't create this, like, kindred mark scenario where it's like a race to that creature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think a kindred mark scenario is really good in engaging gameplay for anybody, because, like, if I as a bot laner have to, like, mold everything that I'm doing in lane around making sure my jungler gets Scuttle crab, it's just really an unnecessary distraction from the 2v2 that I actually enjoy in the game, right? Because it's me leaving a 2v2, and then I have to trust an ADC not to die so I can help the jungler, right?
Yeah.
Or we have to abandon the lane, go help the jungler, and then come back to being in an EXP deficit ourselves. So I put our jungler ahead at the cost of our lane. So I've got, like, a Sophie's choice of which child I want to save. You know what I mean? Like,
because they are children. It's very accurate.
Well, I mean, that's true. Like, I'm with my ADC or I'm with my jungler. One of them's going to get put behind if I don't move. And it's like, why am I put in this position where I have to decide someone else's fate for them? That just kind of sucks. You know, and that's the problem I have, is, like, let jungle camps be camps. Like, let them just be jungle camps. There should be objective camps. You have 3 of those. You have Dragon, you have Rift Herald, and you have Baron. That's enough team rotational camps for the jungle, right? I don't need one that comes up every fucking minute and determines the outcome of the jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm actually, one thing I am going to try, and I'll try to get back with the podcast next week and see how it goes. I'm going to try running Smite on top lane Tryndamere again, like I used to. See how that goes this patch.
Yeah, Froggen came out with really harsh words on the Smite mid meta. He's like, it's fucking terrible. You get the first Scuttle, and then it's just shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, like he thinks it's bad if you take Smite?
Yeah. He thinks it's really bad to take Smite. He's like, well, you get the first Scuttle.
Well, it's a little different on Tryndamere, because you're already taking Ignite. So you can just take Red Smite, and that's kind of the similar scenario. But I think it's a little different on mid lane. But anyways, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up this week, right?
Yeah, no, I think we covered pretty much everything. So, guys, I wanted to tell you guys, I'm going to make some quick announcements so we wrap up the show. Community games have been a huge success lately. Everybody's showing up, and that's fucking amazing. So thank you guys for being there, and I really appreciate it. The games have been really good quality. We've had a lot of good, like, experiences. The shoutcasting has been fun, and even when we're not talking about shoutcasting, we're talking about cannibalism. So
it's great. We get great discussion topics.
Yeah, we have a good time, and you know, I know you guys are having a good time, so that's awesome. So please continue showing up for that. Other than that, I'm going to make an announcement that I seem to be answering this question like 9 times a day. So I'm going to answer it one more time. If you want coaching from the people on this podcast, that's awesome. Good for you. I'm glad that you're taking the time to improve your game. But there are some prerequisites that I have that I think are pretty universal. You guys can nod if you agree. But we have uploaded the entire playlist of UNSW Law Society videos, both the short videos and the long ones. I ask that before you get coaching, you watch those damn videos. It's a playlist on the LOLA Podcast YouTube. Just go there and watch them. You don't have to watch all the long ones, but at least watch the short ones. Because if you do a coaching session and you haven't watched those videos, I'm going to be telling you to do the things that are included in the videos. So it's largely a waste of everybody's time whenever I say like, oh yeah, get into trading stance, and then I have to explain to you what that is, right? So watch those videos first. Secondly, I need a video replay program like plays.tv or OBS or like a saved Twitch stream or something that we can watch together. The reason why I want that and not a raffle file, which is the league replay file, is that the league replay file opens up in the spectate client. I don't get to see your camera work. I want to see where you're looking at on the screen and how you're controlling your camera. And that's conspicuously absent from a raffle file. It doesn't give me any of that information, right? I don't get to see what you see on the screen. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not effective. So plays.tv or like OBS or Twitch or whatever, that you can make a recording so I can see what you see. And then last but not least, hit me up online. I am way too busy to schedule anything with League. Like, if you catch me online, I log in every night around the same time, which is about 8 p.m. Central, because that's when my kids go to sleep. If you ask me before I get started doing stuff, I'm happy to do a VOD review with you and give you some coaching points. And then you can work on those things and we'll come back and do them again. The problem is being a parent of 2 and, husband and small business owner.
Missouri's most important man.
Yeah. The key holder to the city of Carlane, Missouri. That being said, like, I can't guarantee you that I'll be on like Tuesday at 8, right? But if you hit me up and you're patient, I will definitely take the time, particularly if you keep trying. I will make sure you get time in, and I'll make sure to review your stuff. But those are the only things that I ask, because I have to coach so many people that I cannot afford to have my time wasted on this deal, because this is my hobby. Like, I like to play this game too, right? And I need you to come in at least prepared so that I can help you. And then the last thing, go ahead.
You can go. You can go.
Okay, so the last thing I was going to say is, and also, like, leave the ego at the door and have an open mind as to what it is I'm telling you, because any advice that anyone on this podcast gives is purely to benefit you and not to, like, hurt your feelings or your confidence. So, okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, as a quick addendum, those UNSW Law Society videos contain the sum of knowledge required to get Diamond. So if you're not learning anything from them, you need to watch them again. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, literally, if you were to watch and apply, which is not going to be reasonable to expect at the very beginning, but, like, literally, those videos, assuming that you did everything that's in them, they will get you to Diamond by themselves. Not that you shouldn't get coaching, but, like, you can't underestimate the power of those videos.
I also think the coaching will help you in the application of those
videos. No,
totally.
I'm just trying to, like, can't overstate how good the videos are.
Mm-hmm.
Be overstated.
Okay, so do you guys, like, those are my rules? I don't know if those are universal or if you guys
Yeah, pretty much
the
same for me.
They're pretty universal. I'm a little more willing to, if, like, I have a pretty open schedule weeknights during, like, after 5 p.m. Eastern when I get off of work, so I'm more willing to do, like, some schedule, like, hey, like, at 8, let's do this. But, yeah, it's all about, like, just being open with communication. Because I've had it too, where like people talk about like, oh, I've kind of been thinking about coaching, but then I never heard from them or anything. It's like, well, like just ask us. Like that's another, like we're all human here. None of us are some crazy people who are. Well, I might be a little crazy. We're not sure on that one. Jury's out, but. Very approachable. I'm never going to shoot anyone down that wants to ask me questions or think about coaching.
Only thing for me is that sometimes I do want to play solo queue because I'm probably the biggest like solo queue player, I'd say, out of the three of us. I probably spend the most time playing solo queue. Not that I won't coach you. That's not what I'm trying to say. But sometimes, like if you message me, I'll say, yes, we can do coaching at some point. But sometimes I just want to play solo queue. That's all, though. And it's not a big deal. Like, you should still message me anyways, but
I mean, if
like,
we're in the middle
I just can't talk to people.
Like, here's an example. This week, Ponderous and I have a tournament on Saturday, like a couple of days from now. So we've got to practice for that tournament to get our team whipped into shape. I'm probably not going to do a lot of coaching within the next 2 days because of that, right? Same. But if you popped on and my team wasn't online, I could do some for you real quick, like go over your laning phase with you. If you're there and you're ready and you have the video and a link set up, like not a problem.
Yep.
So
just we're good besides that.
Yeah, just help me out and be prepared, and I'll be happy to help you out. So, all right. Other than that, I think that kind of wraps us up for this week. By the way, if you want us to talk about something in particular, this is another announcement. We are open to show topics. Somebody suggested we talk about effective off-meta troll picks, and Michael almost died. But I may do something for that because I've done off-meta support stuff over and over and over again. But we can talk about some of those if that's interesting, because I know that's some people have a lot of fun doing off-meta stuff, and that's like the most fun part of the game for them. So if that helps, I'm happy to look into that and see if I can help you do something. But if we get more requests, the more people that request things, the more likely we are to cover it for you. And, that's what we want, is to give you what you feel like you need in order to get better. So hit us up, let us know what the hell's going on or what you want to see, and we'll try to do that. And last thing before I say and sign off, thank you guys for the support. I have gotten like a flood of personal messages in Discord lately that's like, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm a new listener, I'm really enjoying what you're doing, keep it up. And guys, that shit's amazing. Like, honestly, thank you so much. Like, it means a lot, because until you podcast, you never realize, like, it feels like I'm just having a conversation with Michael and Alec, right? And I forget the fact that there are actually like a lot of people out there listening and really enjoying that. And it's really fulfilling to me to know that you guys appreciate the effort that we put in the show every week.
Unlike his legal career and fatherhood, which are not fulfilling to him.
I do not get any positive feedback about either of those things. Well, the legal career I do. But I also get people who are like, why am I in jail? And I'm like, stop doing drugs, asshole.
All I did was eat some guy's finger. Like, come on, it's not that big of a deal.
There's not even a law against that, technically. He's still alive. He signed a waiver.
We drew up the forms.
So, anywho.
That help us.
Actually, I did this week get in a discussion about whether or not, because a guy pulled a samurai sword on another guy to settle a dispute and ended up getting felony charges for it, like assault, armed criminal action and shit like that. And I looked at the judge and I was like, Your Honor, the samurai code of Bushido has been followed for thousands of years to settle these kind of disputes exactly. Like, just because the man's a traditional conservative doesn't mean that he should end up going to prison for it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he thoroughly enjoyed that argument. He's like, we should actually settle more things with the samurai code. I was like, I know, right?
Trial by combat. Let's bring it back.
It's like, how do you plead? Guilty or not guilty? Nani?
Nani?
He's grown so much powerful since the last time he was in court.
He's incarcerated at over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
The last time you saw me, I was here for a mere charge of breaking and entering. This time, I'm here for... I can't do this. I'm fucking done.
While you were studying the law, I studied the blade.
Anyway, before we keep going off tangent as we're trying to end the show.
All right, good night, everybody!
Adios. Alright. Quality. Alright, Blake, get your ass online. We gotta